down with Smock. I'm very excited about it, as I hope you are too. And we let you guys vote for the first guest of mine, and Mr. Mowery won by quite the landslide. So you're obviously a well-liked teacher around here. So
Doing something right now.
hopefully now the people that voted will watch it. They obviously want to hear what you got to say. So
I guess so. I didn't think I was that interesting, but hey, I'll take it.
I guess. All right. So the big one I wanted to talk to you about was the new Star Wars movie coming out.
Seems to be a hot topic, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's obvious when, or I guess any of the students who know me probably understand that.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars is one of my things, of many. Yeah, I think we're going, not on the first day, a few family members of mine and myself, but I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen. I'm just not so sure that this isn't going to be another letdown. Not been.
So what's the big hype though about this one? I know I've heard a lot about. I know anytime a Star Wars movie comes out, everybody's like real pumped and excited about it because it's Star Wars. But like this one, I've heard is really important. And could you maybe fill me in on that?
Yeah, I think. Well, obviously, it's supposed to be, the last one of the Skywalker saga.
Oh, okay, so that's the ticket.
I think to say that it's going to be the last Star Wars is ludicrous because it's
There's
way
too much money to be made.
way too big of an entity
Yeah.
to just shut it down. No, this one's just, it's big for, I think, the original Star Wars fans. So a lot of your purist fans are going, to be seeing this as the end of maybe some of their like childhood, memories and stuff growing up. My parents watched it, which is why I watched it.
Yeah.
So, my name's Luke,
Yeah. It's fitting.
the main character, right? I just think there's a lot going on, and like I said, for a lot of people, this is the last Star Wars that many of them will probably say the real, true.
Yeah, that George
arc.
Lucas.
Yeah.
Was before Disney took over because
Right.
they did sell to Disney, right?
Yeah, a few
And I
years
heard-
back.
Didn't they try to make some movies themselves? Disney did Star Wars movies, but then they realized it wasn't going as well, so they tried to get Lucas back into it or something like that.
Yeah,
Was it-
well, Star Wars Force Awakens actually had, a different director
Oh, okay.
than the previous ones, than
Yeah.
George Lucas. Kind of stepped away once he sold it, which, interesting story, by the way, Fox did never claim rights to that, too. So Fox could have had all, a good portion of that money that the first one
For the
that they
Star,
made. Yeah.
for the Star Wars
Didn't
movies.
claim it, thought it wasn't going to work and everything, so George Lucas took it, and that's why you see Lucas
So
films.
kind of like people that are going to underestimate this podcast.
That's right, yeah.
Until it
invest.
takes off. And
Yeah.
then, now's the time if you want to sponsor,
Find a business.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I
We're
think
willing.
it's since he sold it, I think the problem has been finding stability. Right when I heard about it, going from episode 7 to 8, which was the last one released before this last one, switching directors. So they had J.J. Abrams do 7, and then Ryan Johnson do 8, and how are you going to get continuity?
Yeah.
Using two different directors who most
Completely
likely have.
different interpretations
Yeah.
of what happened. Because
Yeah.
isn't Star Wars something too that it's a little difficult? It can be difficult to understand if you don't.
There's a
pick it
lot
up,
to
or
it.
if you don't understand, like if you haven't been around it enough, it's not something you can just jump into.
Oh, well, I think it's something that you can jump into, but
You gotta be able
you got to be able to sit down and watch.
pay attention.
I have introduced a few people that I know to the Star Wars thing and tried to get them into it. I think it's something that's easy to get into, but to truly say, hey, I've watched Star Wars, I understand everything that's going on, it would take a minute. Yeah, first of all, you got 9 movies to watch.
Yeah, you gotta put in the time. If
Right.
you're ready to get into it, yeah.
And then speaking back to what you were talking about just a minute ago with Disney trying to do a couple of their own, those were the spin-offs. So
Okay.
Rogue One,
Yeah.
and then the recent Han Solo, which Jon Favreau directed, and he's been working with Disney just because of the whole Marvel thing too. And it's interesting because the movies actually did pretty well. Better than, in my opinion, and this is the thing with Star Wars talk, right? You can have people who've seen and viewed these movies for the same amount of hours, right? Whether they've watched it 20 times or one time, and you're going to get a different opinion from whether, if it's a big Star Wars fan, small Star Wars fan, somebody just getting into it. In my opinion, I think some of those spin-offs did just as well, if not better, than these last two, what you would call the trilogies,
Yeah.
right? The saga. The last one, Solo, didn't do so well in the box office, I don't think, but a lot of people who went and to watch it actually had pretty good reviews. And for me,
yeah, that's good.
my favorite character. So
Yeah.
nothing like a gunslinger in the middle of a universe that uses
Yeah.
lightsabers.
So I heard you say earlier, you said Disney owns Marvel too.
Yes.
So Disney's got Marvel wrapped up and Star Wars.
Yes. So well,
They.
I mean, to an extent, a while back, Marvel had to sell a lot of characters.
Okay.
So they're still like we just had. I don't know if you saw all that talk about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right, being
where
taken
they were
out.
fighting about who owns it or
So
something.
Disney owns, what Marvel owns, which this is the whole legal thing for you. If you ever think about getting into it, the multitude of, legalities that come into play with rights, and it's insane. But so Marvel is owned by Disney, but doesn't necessarily own all of its characters. So you have Sony that owns Spider-Man because they sold the property
Yeah.
to it, and so I think there's they're trying to acquire Venom too because Sony owns Venom, which is technically still another Spider-Man character.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like if you get this Disney Plus and then you look at how much is on there.
Yeah, there's a lot on there. All the Avengers, it's all the Star Wars. Yeah, it's crazy. Which
They
is,
wrapping it up.
I don't know exactly how this works, but it seems to me like they got to be close to a monopoly.
Hmm.
I mean, as much as they're on, I bet they have it split up though into different businesses. Like there's probably a Disney LLC or a Disney this split up so that they don't have the monopoly problem. But
Back to
it seems like a pretty powerful organization.
oh gosh, yeah.
Just like Google.
Listen, those two probably top
But yeah, honestly.
as far as entertainment.
Yeah,
Obviously,
exactly.
There's other
Like-
companies out there running
Like the
show.
Chinese, there's some huge Chinese companies. If you look at like the biggest companies in the world, I think some of the top ones are from China. But in terms of American entertainment, Google and Disney
Well,
seems about
and I think we've always been kind of the capital of entertainment. We're the
Yeah.
movie country, right? Hollywood.
Yeah.
So, you have Bollywood and all kinds of other reincarnations of Hollywood around the world that are making independent films. But
Yeah.
we've been kind of the highlight of TV and movie.
That's
And
what we got going for us.
yeah, I think Disney though, you look at it and it won't ever be a monopoly, but they're close enough to it where they're going to run the show for a lot.
Yeah.
You still have NBC, you still have,
Is Pixar?
yes, Pixar's Disney too.
Disney, that's what I thought. That's
Yeah.
what I was going to say. That's a big one. I mean, that's like every childhood movie you've ever seen, Pixar and Disney.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Covers it all.
Yeah.
They are definitely the top one, I would say. I mean, I think NBC still has quite a bit to offer as far as, they work with Comcast as well. So that's kind of the cable thing going for you. But as far as what we've been moving towards with this streaming process, and everything, I mean, people not even having TV because they'd just rather
Because they
pay
have
$20
Netflix.
for Netflix,
Yeah.
$20 for, which is
Yeah.
not $20 for Disney Plus unless, but yeah, it's crazy. They're huge and only going to get bigger because this Marvel thing's not going to stop either.
Yeah.
They're planning
People
there's
love
two
it.
phases already.
I've never really been exposed much to Marvel or like Star Wars or anything like that. So I guess some people would consider me lame that I'm missing out on a lot of that. But I know there's a lot of interest from the school at least. There's a lot of kids at school interested in that stuff. So hopefully we can get their view too.
Yeah,
And feel free, if you have your own opinions, there's a comment section and discussion is always great.
yeah, boosts the ratings.
Yeah, it does too. And tell your friends about it and get in there.
Yeah,
Have your own discussion about it.
I find it interesting. I found this, and I might even have said this to your freshman class here, but there's been a multitude of times throughout history where superheroes seem to be more popular than, let's say, other times, right? I guess just
Yeah.
other periods.
Yeah.
And it's always in times of, or has been in turmoil, at least as far as some of those, ups and downs go with.
Okay, I can foresee that.
Yeah, and I think it's people
Makes
reaching
perfect
out.
sense, yeah.
your stuff's not going well, you look to find a movie where the good guys
The
win.
good guys save the day, yeah.
But,
So,
yeah.
I heard a interesting story about you.
Uh-oh.
Well, not really about you, about an unfortunate event that happened to you.
All right, let's hear this.
So you, I heard one time you lost your wallet, and
one time.
you got a call a year later about your lost wallet.
Yeah.
Is this a true story?
This is very true.
Because I have an inside source that told me.
Oh, I bet you do.
This
That's
was-
the problem with teaching in a school that you have family go to, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
That's bizarre.
As
I
much
mean,
as-
how do you react to that phone call?
well,
Like,
that
you probably
phone call-
forgot that you
yeah.
lost it. You probably lost it another time after that.
It's one of those things that you don't forget, but you forget to remember.
Yeah.
If that's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the reaction was at that point it'd been so long it had that when she called me to tell me, it was sort of just like, oh, wow, really? That's interesting. I thought that would have
Yeah.
been long gone. So
Yeah.
not so much, like excitement, but just more
Like
a little.
what in the world is going
Yeah,
on?
like a little bewilderment maybe.
That had to be
Something.
bizarre, like super bizarre. I
Now
mean, did you get it back? And did you say,
Well,
yeah, I'll take it back? Or?
And I would say it would have been more bizarre. Yeah, I went and got it. I mean,
Yeah.
because it had some stuff in there still. I would say it would have been more bizarre if when I got there they didn't tell me that they had it and tried to contact me. So if it would have just been like a year later somebody found it and took it in,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more of an
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. If you think like maybe it was in a spot where no one could find it, and then they just stumbled upon it a year later, or
No, they had it. Apparently, what they said is they tried to contact me. Now, I don't obviously remember getting a call about it, or else I would have went and got it.
Yeah.
But they said they tried to contact me like a year ago. So, from what I understand, someone found it pretty short. Maybe even just that night,
yeah.
and took it up there, and then I just never got the call.
The hard part was getting it to you.
Yeah.
Finding your information. I mean, it's not like your phone number is probably not in your
No, but
card, but I'm assuming it's not that hard to find somebody's phone number. There's
no.
just another thing.
And usually you can't look up, if it's a city. So it's obviously the West Lafayette Police Department that called
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah.
they can't just look anybody up. You
Yeah.
gotta have some sort of grounds for it, or have to be in their system. And Mr. Mowery did not get in trouble in West Lafayette, so
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that is great. So this reminds me of a conversation I think me and you have had before, or in fact I think we've had an advanced composition class about how much privacy is, too much? What was it again? It was privacy versus
Oh yeah, just
what was that conversation?
privacy
I
or
remember we had it
security.
as a class. Yeah, security and
Yeah, what's more
like what
important?
should be. Yeah, that's what it was. Privacy versus security.
Yeah, that's been the big talk for a while now.
Especially with like Google and that whole thing that happened with Facebook and all that. Like, I think I remember someone in class said, it might have even been me, like, since I'm not famous, I'm not too concerned about them. They don't have any reason to look at what I'm doing. But maybe if I was famous, I would be a little uncomfortable with the fact that they can figure out pretty much anything I look up on that phone.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Listen, I don't think it's any secret that,
Yeah.
when you're talking about something, it pops up on your feed.
Exactly. Yeah, Instagram's got you
Something.
figured out before you got yourself figured out.
And I'm not too huge of a conspiracy theorist, or really even one at all. I tend to kind of just let things roll.
Yeah, 'cause
But
it doesn't affect you directly. So.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it
well,
does, but I guess it. I
and
don't think you've had any secret information leaked from your phone.
no,
Yeah.
no, well, that I know of.
Yeah, maybe,
I
who
mean, I've been
knows?
hacked a
There
few
could be.
times. Credit cards.
Oh, yeah.
Money. Listen, I think security is obviously important, but so is privacy to people.
Yeah.
And some people want their privacy more than others. Now, I've always said if you don't have anything to hide, then what are you? Sorry, I had a phone call that I just.
Right off.
I guess
That's
that's
too
I just
easy.
answered it. Yeah, see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's
Yeah,
just right
it's
here.
yeah, right there. Flip it over.
Good
it's
Lord.
there for you to see.
I don't think if you have anything, if you're doing something to where you're worried about them, then you probably shouldn't be doing
be
it.
doing it. Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole reason why it's in place for people like that are doing stuff that we don't.
Right.
The problem is a lot of those people are quite smart people and a little better at hiding stuff than the average person.
My only worry, and this is a far-fetched worry, this is a worry that a teacher would do. Yeah, not even a conspiracy theory. I just think I'm 3 years out of college now.
Yeah.
4, coming to 4. Good Lord. And as much as obviously you always want to see the good people. A salesman's job is to sell, right? Whether they're doing it in sort of the preying on you way, where they're looking at your data and what you're liking and what.
Yeah.
For me, that stuff's not too big of a deal. My only worry would be that with how young people are that are starting to use phones and social media, that it's going to be easier to scam people into buying things.
Okay, yeah.
Or
like
even
the little kid that spends $100 on Clash of Clans and forgets to tell mom and dad until
too late. Yeah. That $100 is gone.
Yeah, that's happened in our household. In case anybody was wondering, that's from experience.
That's the only thing that would worry me. And you talk about what English class is for. You have to sometimes be able to read between the lines and understand what's true and what's not. And the phishing emails and the whole thing now with, I think next year they said that 80% of people's phone calls are supposed to be the robocalls. That's what they're predicting, which wouldn't surprise me because I think I get like 4 or 5 a day.
Yeah. Yeah, that is annoying.
It's think
concerning too, kind of.
Yeah, I think there's still, but that still comes even in that case to more regulation, not less, right? If you're talking about the phone calls. Now, if we're simply talking about, okay, we're going to shut down the government's access to this, this, and this, and this because I don't want them looking at what I bought for Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's going to be something. It's politics, I think. For you guys coming out of high school,
gray area.
Yeah, for you guys coming out of high school, this is stuff that would be important for you guys to, I think, discuss and understand. And if you've been in my class twice now.
Yeah.
I always tell you guys discussion's important, discourse is important. Listen to people, respond, have conversations, be open-minded.
Yeah.
So talking politics, while it gets a bad rap, what's the saying of, with your friends and your family, you don't talk about politics, religion, or.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just to keep the turmoil out.
It gets a bad rap, but I think at the same time, if you don't talk about it, then. Yeah.
You gotta be updated.
Right.
Know what's going on.
The issue is the stubbornness from people to listen and be impartial instead of what they are most of the time, which is, well, I've been this and my family's been this, so I'm this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's not inability to change, but just the lack of.
It's just so much. Just
wanting
like
to change.
Yeah, humans don't prefer to change. And I remember freshman year, because yes, I have had Mr. Mowery. I did have him my freshman year, his first year here.
Twice.
So I've seen him mature as a teacher, and hopefully he's seen me mature as a person. I don't know. But I remember our freshman year, you told us. I completely lost my train of thought going off on that little tangent. What were we just talking
something about you said habit. Are you already talking about
open-minded.
habit?
Something about your family. Open-minded. It was a perfect quote that I remember specifically from freshman
The joys
year.
of an unscripted.
Yes, this is the beauty of the podcast, is we don't have to remember because now we're not doing bad.
Yeah. No.
Darn, man, if I think of it, I'll come back to it. Because I remember it vividly. I was like, that one stuck with, because you were really the first teacher I remember having that was willing to talk about stuff that wasn't exactly easy to talk about. And you started it as freshmen, which I think is one of the most important times to do it, because that's when you really, for you younger underclassmen out there, whoever you are right now is going to be completely different in 4 years. And do you agree with
Listen,
that.
you'll be different again in another 4
And
months.
yeah, exactly. Like this is a time in your life where I feel like it changes the most. So keeping an open mind is extremely important because who knows what it could lead you to.
Yeah.
You had a direct quote that was like what I just paraphrased or said, which I cannot remember.
Listen, that's one thing I'll tell you too, though. As far as forgetting things, I've said a lot of stuff in my life that if I had to recall it, I tend to speak in quotes and things like that because
and make up your own stats.
Yeah, well, yes, I make up my own stats all the time.
Hey,
yeah.
at least
about,
you say it.
About 80% of the time, my stats are made up. So, yeah, I think usually when I'm doing that, that's just a guess. You know, I'll throw a stat out there. I get that from my dad too. He always try to trick you with stuff, you know.
Yeah, keep you on your toes.
Right. Yeah. Be like, well.
And you believe everything your dad says too.
Yeah. No.
Exactly.
Until I started realizing
Until
how
you
much
get
of a
older.
goofball he was. Yeah. And you realize half the stuff out of his mouth is, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's like him putting applesauce on pork chops.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier.
That's what
you did inform me that you were a good cook. I did not know that about you until earlier.
A good cook that sometimes doesn't get the chance to often. I feel like I recently have been eating out probably too much. But really? Yeah, no, I do. I enjoy cooking because we talked about it earlier. I get to choose what I eat.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's part of being an adult too.
Yeah, it's the only thing.
Mom and Dad don't cook food for you anymore.
Yeah, except on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And random Saturday nights when I show up. Maybe.
Yeah.
No, I think it's as far as the open-mindedness and you guys and just in general being in high school, it's always intriguing, and even as a teacher, and being here for only 3 years, you know, obviously I don't know how other teachers feel about it, but we see you guys and we're trying to relate things to you. And for me, being where I'm at, I'm 3 years out of college, right?
Yeah.
And only
Not too
I say
far from
only
where we
7
were.
years out of high school, but that's actually it's almost dang good point.
Yeah, it's crazy how that goes.
I know. Fast, and that's kind of the thing that I'm getting at, is it does go fast, and you won't realize it. It's the same thing every generation. You hear it over and over again, and it's such a cliche that, you know, it's going to fly by, and you need to take advantage of it now, and yada, yada, yada. I mean, as many cliches as I can possibly give you, right? You can say them all day long,
I
but
definitely remember hearing those from freshman year on.
the problem is you just, it's I think, as frustrated as I get, even sometimes myself, you know, I go against what I'm thinking, and then afterwards as I leave, it comes back to the same thing all the time. You're not going to know until you live it. I mean, it's life. You can't, it's hard to grasp something that a person who's 25, 35, 45 is telling you, because you're not there. You haven't got
that. I definitely agree with that statement.
So, you know.
So weird.
Yeah, I say even sometimes now, even as much as I would like to think that I relate to the students, I don't think, you know, it's getting worse, and it's not worse, that wasn't necessarily the right term, but me being able to relate is less each year.
Yeah, because you're getting further away from where they are, and they grew
up too. I think people would see me now and see a different side than the Mr. Mowery that they had as a friend, or even just a classmate in high school. Like I said, I think at any point in time, if you were to ask a teacher, they've done some things where maybe, you know, they've forgotten a homework assignment once or twice, or they procrastinated.
Yeah, they weren't perfect either.
No. And if they haven't, then apparently I need to set my standards.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe you do. Maybe you do.
So.
All right, well, I think, you know, that was a good first show, and I'm really excited that you were willing to come on, and I hope that we can keep doing this.
I think
that's what I'm hoping.
I think
because I think if people will sit down and take the time to watch this show and realize, like, I'm just giving you a platform, you know, to talk and say what you want to talk about. You know, did we really talk more than 5 minutes about what we wanted to talk about? Not really. We just kind of went for it.
Yeah.
And it's.
It started at Star Wars.
Yeah, we did get the start discussion down just to make sure we got that. But other than that, we just flowed.
Palpatine's back. That's why this one's so big too. A lot of people would think that, you know, well, his voice was in all the trailers. But yes, I know.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, but teachers out there, people out there, even students. I want to interview students. I want to interview whoever I can. I'd like to, put out one a week, maybe 2 a week if I can get good at it, work on it. And I think I got some big things coming up too that will also be good for the community as a whole. So we'll see what happens with it.
Stay tuned.
Let's run with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
They're growing up in a different time period than what you grew up in.
Yeah. And even me myself, right at this point in time,
Yeah.
I'm thinking coming in, my first year here, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm young, I'm always going to be able to relate to these kids. It's going to be easy to get them to
Work.
vibe off
Yeah.
of me and be able to work because they're going to think, wow, he's only this old, he knows what we're talking about, he knows what we're going through.
Yeah.
And 3 years in, I'm already thinking, I don't know how.
Losing it. It's-
Yeah.
Teaching's a lot more difficult than people give it credit for, I will say.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, I'm sure
There's a lot
there
to
is.
it. I mean, managing not only, let's say 20 kids a class who are finding themselves, growing up, going through things that in many, circumstances kids shouldn't have to go through.
Yeah.
We have a lot of that here. There's everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, yeah, exactly.
And it's, it's a lot. You got to manage the personalities, the egos,
And everybody's different. And you got the job, well, luckily here at Twin Lakes, our classes are a little smaller than some, but you still have 20 kids that you gotta get on the same page. And that is not easy in any situation.
No, but, just like anything else or any other job that anybody's doing, no matter if your profession's a doctor, or if you're an officer, if you're a teacher, you have to keep doing it. You gotta keep trying. I keep trying to think of different ways to motivate. I think that's been the biggest thing lately. Motivating to help them understand that, especially because this year I'm teaching, 6 freshman classes, whereas previous years I've always had more seniors than I did freshmen.
Oh, really? This is your first year?
First year sort of
mostly
flipped it.
freshmen.
Yeah, and it's been
that's
different.
Experience.
It's been different. Getting these kids to understand, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I don't know if you can get them to fully understand how important it is to get on the right track, even at this age.
Yeah.
And as much as I lecture and talk in these rhymes and all this stuff, whatever, the cliches, quotes that I steal from other people and my made-up stats. Some of them just aren't, it's not that they're not even ready or willing, it's that they aren't, ready to understand it, to accept it. They're not there yet. It's same thing as talking to like my little sister, right? I try to obviously impart some sort of wisdom onto her, but sometimes she doesn't like listening.
Yeah, just like sometimes you don't like what your mom has to say,
Oh,
or your
yeah.
dad has to say.
And we've all been through
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And that's, I think, originally, before I got
Everybody's
off on
got
a
a little
tangent.
stubbornness in it.
Yeah, I think every teacher's been through it here at one point or another, whether you've been here for 20 years, 30 years. It's, I don't think that the kids now are doing anything. This might be where the teachers who've been here for a while are on the other side of me, right?
This would be interesting.
Yeah, I think.
Teachers, we're open for discussion too. Feel free to comment.
Yeah.
Hopefully the teachers are watching this, I hope, because they're going to have the opportunity to be on the show too.
Yeah.
I'm willing to have anybody on this show, and that's the cool thing. Because, I'm giving you a chance to talk about things that you think can help out, and you can see better enhancements in your students too, and just anybody. We're just talking about good stuff.
Conversation. Yeah. No, I don't think the kids nowadays are doing. They're doing new things because, times have changed, right?
Yeah.
The whole vaping epidemic, right?
Yeah.
There was a time where teachers could smoke in school.
Yeah.
In the teachers' lounge. I find it interesting being, I feel like, in the middle ground, right? So kids are here, I'm here, and then my, coworkers who are more experienced are here.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in the middle. I do think that there's issues always, but I also think the kids are going to be kids, and I'm not so sure that if they're being honest that a teacher can't say that at one point in time they didn't talk back to a teacher, or, you know, not even necessarily talk back, but because I don't know that I necessarily ever talked back to any of my teachers, and I had some
But you had
teachers that are here,
difficulties
so
with
maybe
it.
someone's going to come in and put
Yeah,
me,
exactly.
they're going to put me on the spot and be like, oh, I remember
that
when you
one
were
time,
here.
yeah.
No, I think for the most part, respect was pretty big.
Yeah,
with
that's what
my
question
class.
I was going to ask you is, and then maybe we can close with this. I don't know how much time it's been because, well, I mean, it'd be a pleasure to have you back too, but I think this would be a good one.
We
to
can do a
close on.
two-parter.
Yeah, part 2 after we get big time and get
There you
sponsors
go.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Big time. So you would say the hardest part about being a teacher, which I could definitely foresee this, would maybe be getting the respect level. Would you say that, or do you think there's something else
Well,
that would be a little bit more difficult?
And I think that there's two different kinds of respect, because even as a student in college, it was a little different, obviously, but I think there was a fearful respect for a professor.
Yeah.
Usually
Well,
high school
rightfully
teachers.
so.
Yeah. Usually high school teachers don't take that route. I think especially teachers here,
Yeah.
you know, our faculty does a pretty good job of relating to the students, no matter the age.
Yeah.
I've been harping on my age like it's a big deal that I'm younger than some
yeah.
people, but it's
yeah,
not.
there's still older teachers that are good at connecting with their students.
Absolutely.
And there's teachers that are younger than you that are bad at it.
Yeah.
You know?
Now, age is. I quick tangent. I do believe that, you know, you want to make up stats.
Yeah.
I believe that like 50% of maturity does not come from age, because I know a lot of people my age who just aren't mature, and I know a lot of kids who are here who are very mature.
Yeah.
You know, so maturity doesn't always come with age. I think it comes with life experience and the people you have around you. You know, are you able to learn good lessons? Is someone there to help you understand, you know, the right thing, and yada yada yada. But I don't know that it's so hard to get respect. That's a tough question.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, because
you can always find a way to, you know, like earn respect, obviously.
you can do it the right way or the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, my philosophy, I'll just do this because I don't know that I know the answer to if that's the hardest thing, but my philosophy as far as teaching has always just been to understand that, well, and to get the students too to understand that, yes, I am, in this instance, the superior here, right? I'm the one who does have the authority. And, you know, I do the best to uphold that authority, obviously, but also on a respectful side of it. Now, if things are, you know, if there's a difference between being completely disrespectful and maybe they're having a bad day and they say something that, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But always being on level terms as much as I can, and other teachers might not, you know, like we said, they're going to do it your own way. But for me, you know, I try not to put myself over them too much, because eventually then it just feels like you're telling them and talking.
Yeah, and then
at
it turns
them.
into like yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
So
like,
for me, it's always been, you know, if I'm wrong, 110%, I always admit that I'm wrong. If somebody can suggest something that's better, I'm fine with
willing
that.
to, yeah,
But
try
then
out.
it comes back again to doing that the appropriate way. You know, I always tell first day of school, usually I tell you, you can always challenge me or correct me if I do something wrong, but just do it respectfully. Don't say, hey, you know, Mr. Mowery, you're an idiot.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Just, hey, Mr. Mowery.
Fact check
Yeah, I
yourself.
think that this is.
That's
I think
good.
this is the way that it should be. Or, you know, hey, Mr. Mowery, I think that you said this wrong. Or that goes back to the conversation of having discourse.
Yeah.
If you can't just have conversation and be willing to not know everything, because as much as
I know too many people like that.
everybody loves
Yeah.
everything. Half the problem with that's the internet too. Though.
Yeah.
Just look everything up, and then people remember things and then think that they're smart. And movie that was well before its time. Have you ever seen Good Will Hunting?
Good Will Hunting. I have not, but I have definitely heard about it.
Yeah. Definitely a good movie. Your cameraman back there shaking his head. He's seen it. That's kind of the idea of that, right? That this kid is brilliant, but it
Mr.
creates
Gilbert
an ego.
told us about this movie, I think.
Yeah, people get egotistical because now that they have this plethora of information, they can bring it in and memorize it, and then regurgitate it whenever they want to, right? But actually going to a place that you know facts about and experiencing it, is a different level. And that's kind of what that movie portrays a little bit. He tries to take that ego away. You can read something in a book all you want and memorize it, but that doesn't make you necessarily smart. I think,
especially if that's if you only memorize that part, then
yeah.
you don't have enough of a plethora of.
Right. Well, I think intelligence
too,
comes
yeah.
a lot from just being willing to listen and to being willing to understand and seeking to understand. Right. I think I told you guys that at the beginning of our advanced composition class.
Yeah.
Right. It's really important for people, and there's not enough people to do this, but just seek to understand before you seek to be understood. Just sit back, man. If what you have to say is so important, that you've got to impose it on someone, it still might not be worth it. I think, as far as putting your information on somebody. And I see it all the time.
You did tell us this exact thing before our debate unit.
Yeah, you just have to be willing to understand that there are so many different ways to do things, and all kinds of things, and to assume that your way is the way is very. We'll keep it G-rated for the school. It just it's very egotistical. It is. You're kind of yeah. I get frustrated with it. Some students do it sometimes. I think not even so much out of rudeness, but I think they know the information you're talking about.
They're very confident in them.
Yeah, they can.
And they're
They think, oh, I know about this. So sometimes it might just come from excitement that, hey, I've heard this, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Which, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's definitely nothing wrong with that. And wanting
I've
to.
definitely been there too. We're like, hey, I know what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And then you start talking about it more, and you're like, maybe I didn't know as much as what I thought.
Scratch the surface. Listen,
Yeah.
I've done that too. I've been there and done that. From high school to now, I've changed a lot too. I think people would see me now and see a different side than the Mr. Mowery that they had as a friend or even just a classmate in high school.
Yeah.
'Cause like I said, I think at any point in time, if you were to ask a teacher, they've done some things where maybe they've forgotten a homework assignment once or twice, or they procrastinated.
Yeah, they weren't perfect either. Yeah.
No. And if they haven't, then apparently I need to set my standards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe you do. Maybe you do.
So.
All right. Well, I think that was a good first show, and I'm really excited that you were willing to come on. And I
It was
hope
a good time.
I hope that we can keep doing this.
I think
That's what I'm hoping.
I think
Because I think if people will sit down and take the time to watch this show and realize, like, I'm just giving you a platform, to talk and say what you want to talk about. Did we really talk more than 5 minutes about what we wanted to talk about? Not really. We just kind of went for it.
Yeah.
And it's
it started at Star Wars.
Yeah, we did get the start discussion down just to make sure we got that. But other than that, we just flowed.
Palpatine's back. That's why this one's so big too. A lot of people think that his voice was in all the trailers. That's side note.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, but teachers out there, people out there, even students. I want to interview students. I want to interview whoever I can. I'd like to put out one a week, maybe 2 a week if I can get good at it. Work on it, and I think I got some big things coming up too that will also be good for the community as a whole. So we'll see what happens with it.
Stay
Let's
tuned.
run with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir.